Hey DJs, what's up? Quick tutorial here on Beat Jungle on the channel, all for DJs, starting with a back-to-back pattern of 8 beats. Okay, then we'll reduce it to 4, 2, and 1 beat, alright? So the back-to-back is the foundation for all Beat Jungle. Just like with scratching, we have to start with baby scratching to learn the others. In the case of Beat Jungle, you need to master the back-to-back to be able to do other Beat Jungle patterns. So we're going to learn the back-to-back here, okay? With 8 beats. First of all, I set the beat here at the beginning. Okay. Marking noon on both sides. Okay, good. You can also use, if you're using the turntable, the needle marking. It's roughly in this position here, where I'm moving the mouse. In my case here, I mark noon on both sides. So I'm going to repeat 8 and 8. All right. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 e 8. So it's just about repeating 8 beats on each side. So now let's reduce it to 4 beats on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I'm starting to look like this, nodding my head, right? You can see it in all the DJ competitions. The judges are like this, nodding their heads, but that's to mark the rhythm. Did you understand? If the disc jockey goes off beat in the game Beat Jungle, with this head movement, they can tell if they're out of time or not, such as when they miss a beat. That's why in championships they're always marking the rhythm of the beat, shaking their heads. Like this. Interesting, right? Now, back to back with 2 beats. Let's go. Now back to back, just 1 beat on each side. So you have to train back to back, starting from 8 beats. Got it? Until you get to 1 beat, to get really in sync with these movements, okay? Get well round, that will be the basis for you to start. Other patterns there of beat, okay? Now I'm going to do all these movements right here in sequence. From time to time, I'm using the motorized controller. No, in case the DDJ Rev 7. Okay. These patterns work for any type of motorized controller. Okay. They correspond to the marking there, spinning to the marking of the record. And it's the same setup for the turntable too. If you're using Serato, Traktor, Virtual DJ, a record, right? Timecode, it's the same setup, okay? It's the same idea, cool. Let's go. For those who want to dive deeper into the art of squat and Beat Jungle, I have a course available. Alright. In video lessons, just hit me up on WhatsApp, it's right there. In the video description, there's also a link to purchase directly. You just need to check it out. It will all be in the video description, so you can see all the details. Cool, let's go. Here is a kick snare movement, right? I usually call this movement kick, kick, snare, snare. So, this is already a step up from back to back. I'm going to take it from this side. Okay, I'm going to start by playing the kick here on this side, and the kick on this side. So I'm going to do a chase movement. So it's going to be like this. Kick, kick, snare, snare, and then kick, kick, snare, snare. Okay, so it's a really cool movement too. So you can can see that it's a continuous movement. Okay. Kick, 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 snare, snare. Here I've altered it. Pattern, okay. I was like pulling the disc a little bit, okay? And releasing. Here I'm just like pausing the disc, right? On each side. So I change it up a little bit, but it's the same idea. Kick, 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 snare, snare. Pode ver que em vez de eu puxar para trás um pouquinho, eu tô tipo segurando, né? Fazendo uma pausa de cada lado. Agora eu voltei pro movimento normal, tá tipo dando uma atrasadinha. Here I'm using my left hand on both discs, and the right hand switching sides on the crossfader. Okay. Now when you practice this movement and get it really tight, right? Kick, kick, snare, snare. You can move on to the next movement, which is the chase movement. This is where you're going to intertwine, right? The kick, the hi-hat, and the snare. So, are you going to do the chase movement? On both sides. On this side. On this side here, you're going to start. In the kick of the music, it's on the first pedal of the song. On this side here, you're going to start on the hi-hat of the song, okay? So here, you're going to release. When the hi-hat comes in on this side, you'll let it go on this side here. Then you'll start doing a chase movement, switching from one side to the other. So it will make a cool effect. So see it out. Como se eu estivesse entrelaçando as batidas. And you noticed how it's like a staircase? You have to start from back to back. There's no point in trying to jump straight to this trick. It's cool. It's about repeating, intertwining the beat that everyone loves. Okay, there's no way around it. You have to start from back to back after back to back. The bum 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 snare snare movement is for you to catch the timing there, okay? With the crossfader and the discs, to later. You move on to this next movement, which is a bit more complicated. So let's go to the next one now. And then, now it's the same movement. But instead of delaying each side, I'm just going to practically stop the discs. One each side, okay? So see, so. Instead of delaying, I'm just going to take some pauses, right? Putting it in time. I also made a movement there with the crossfader, right? With my right hand and just touching the records with my left hand. Now it starts to get a little more complicated, right? So that's where everyone wants to jump to this movement. You want to do that crossfader repetition movement, right? The famous pa-pa-pa, as my friend says. DJ, Onion. It's the pa-pa-pa, right? That you play to one side, hit the crossfader twice, throw it to the other side, and also hit the crossfader twice. And it gives a really cool movement. But here we will start by doing it only on one side. I recommend that when you start training this movement, you practice only on one side. So to do the papa, this crossfader repetition on one side, once you get that side right, you move to the other side, then you bring both sides together, okay? That's when you'll have a really cool movement here. In this case, I'm going to demonstrate doing a repetition. Okay, it's the same chasing movement, right? Just from one side, we're going to repeat the beat. Next video, I'm hitting it twice next. Doesn't die. And the performance on this side here on the crossfader where I'm moving the mouse, okay, when I'm going to throw it to this side here, I hit it twice. So it's a really cool movement, but it requires a lot of practice. So in training, you can pick a song and keep doing that. In it, the whole time you understood a 3-minute song, you're going to keep doing that from start to finish. You'll be doing this movement for about 7 minutes. That's because you're taking breaks, right? So it gets slower, the music starts to slow down, but it's a good practice to take an instrumental song, right? From both sides and stuff, and doing these types of movements, okay, to really get that muscle memory down. Now I'm going to do the repetition on both sides, which is where everyone wants to go, right? It's difficult, okay? And that's where everyone wants to skip the steps and get to that part. Okay, it's the same scheme. Repeat the crossfader here and repeat it on this side too. So this movement is cool. Another thing, DJs, in the case of those using software such as Serato, Virtual Tractor, Rekordbox, okay, it's about doing these beat juggling movements without looking at the computer screen, because there's a little lag that will make a difference when you're manipulating the records. So the focus is on the mark on the record, okay? Here, in this case, I have this display, but I don't use it either, okay? These waves here that go through the heavy set, I only rely on the mark, okay? So this here is going to be our reference point, okay? That's why we have here, indeed, in this case, the black record and a white mark, contrasting very well. If it were a white record with a black, red, or dark blue mark, you got it. Always contrasting. Whoever is using vinyl is also using timecode. It's about trying not to use colored records, okay? Or transparent ones with a colored filter underneath. Because when you pull the record, it can mess up everything. The markings, the colors of the record, or the filter underneath, right? If it's transparent, then everything should be to make our lives easier. So, in the training of Beatjango, and we have to use it, alright, in this case, here, the black record is made of acrylic from R7. Marking Zinho here, white. Okay? So don't look at the computer screen, because otherwise you'll get lost. Let's move on to the next movement. Now it's a chase movement. Okay. Kick, hat, snare intertwined. But on the right side, at a certain moment, I'm going to do 2 baby scratches, okay? And I'm going to continue the movement, then I'll do it again. So, it's a different pattern. And it's really cool for us to do that. So, the same setup, starting with the kick drum on one side and the hi-hat on the other, you start the intertwining movement. Then, you do this baby scratch movement on this side or the other. In this case, I did it on the right side here of the setup. Let's go. Preste atenção aqui do lado direito. 2 baby scratch. This movement is really cool. Now it's the left hand. On the record, right hand on the crossfader, okay? So it's a movement of cross, let's go. So here I keep moving from one side to the other. On the crossfader with the right hand, and I keep doing the chase movement, repeatedly and consistently, only with my left hand. The base of the movement is always the same. You start on one side, you begin with the kick drum of the song, at the first point, on the first pedal. On the other side of the hi-hat, then you start intertwining. Then you keep doing the patterns that I'm showing, both the baby scratch. On this side or cross movement, got it. So you can create several patterns, but the idea is always the same, starting with this movement, okay? Now, DJs, same movement, starting with the same pattern, okay? From an intertwined movement, let go of the kick drum, the hi-hat, and keep intertwining. But at some point, you're eventually going to have to definitely leave the crossfader open, okay? So you can let go of the crossfader and manipulate the records with both hands, okay? And with the crossfader open, it creates a really cool movement too, okay? But it requires a lot of training. As I said, it's like a little staircase. It's no use trying to skip the steps, it's going to go wrong, got it. So, you have to train the fathers there after the other, because one pulls the other, you got it. So you can't skip the steps. So in this case, I let the next one go, it was open, right? But just open it a little bit or throw it in the middle, which will always give the same volume, okay? So I was moving it from side to side just with my left hand or with my right hand too. At one point I was crossing my arms too. So you can do various types of movements. This movement here, especially if you look at the screen, you'll get completely lost, okay? It will create a little lag. There will be a difference between what you're seeing on the screen and the sound that's coming out. So always try to keep an eye on the timing. And the force you're applying on one side, you have to apply on both sides. So it has to be balanced, because if you hold too much on one side and let go quickly on the other, there will be a difference and it will start to cut out. And I got out of that movement. I let go of the crossfader and went back already. I grabbed it, threw it to the side of the crossfader, and started the chase movement again in the traditional way. Now DJs, there's a really cool movement, okay? Which is a transition. You're going to get out of that square movement, right? Kick, kick, snare, snare for this chase movement, right? Intertwined. So we're going to be doing kick, kick, snare, snare. Then from one side, you're going to do 3 baby scratches. Then you're going to transition to this intertwined chase movement. So let's go. Did you notice on the left side I did 3 baby scratch, okay? On the other side I already pulled and connected that intertwined movement, okay? Kick, hatch, snare, intertwining the beats. So it's a really cool trick for you to make a transition there from one track to another. Now I am going to perform all of these movements in a sequence. So DJs, I applied all the movements I've shown you so far, all in sequence. So sometimes it goes off a bit, you pull more from one side, then you fix it from the other. You can't pull too much from one side, otherwise the sound will get weird. So it won't sound good, but having a little slip like that is normal to happen. Is that good? You have to practice to make it smooth, but it's pretty hard not to have a little slip here and there. Then you just fix it from one side to the other, okay? But it's a matter of training. Alright, DJs, I hope you liked it. I hope this video helped you out, okay? If you have any questions, I'll be posting more videos on this Django squat content as well, in the same format here, okay? Like doing a reaction to my own video, okay? And explaining the details to you once again. Just a reminder, if anyone's interested, I have my course available. Exclusive from Scratchy Jungle is available in video lessons through Google Drive. Everything is in the video description. There are the details for you to get in touch with me to learn more about this Scratchy Jungle course. There's also a mixing course. We have our specs, alright? Sample, edited music specs. We have our super drive for the channel. Everything for DJs, all our products. In one drive, you have all the music specs courses, sample specs, everything in one place. So it's everything a DJ needs in a single drive. And it's also in the video description. Just reach out and we'll exchange that idea about values. Got it, DJs? Leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends so this video can reach even further and also help other DJs. Thanks, DJs. Hug. Thanks.